Hey everybody, it's Bust with Battles with Bust number 479, and today we're doing battle in a Singleton Gauntlet. And so this will be our first Singleton Gauntlet of the Fates Voyage Onward. I'm very excited to get to do battle with Nyla and Janna in this video. We'll look to touch in on Volibear in the next video, but I think that this is going to be a nice, ultra-powerful deck, and it's something that's going to really give us kind of a viewpoint, a look-see into the future as far as the Eternal format is going to be concerned, and I think it is going to be bonkers. And so the big thing that we're starting to add into our deck today, we're going to have this cycle of three different ideas going with this deck. Now, I do like to mention in terms of deck building, you don't want to half-ass too many things, right? It's very easy to include 5 and 6 and 7 different themes within your deck. Here today, we're going to try and focus on 3, and we're going to try and whole-ass those 3 things the best that we can. And so this cycle of ideas that we're trying to present with this deck can be kind of personified with the likes of Nyla and Janna. So if you played Nyla Janna over the course of the past month, you should know that it's very easy to draw 7 cards within a single turn. And so if you play Janna on turn 4, then you go into turn 5, you get the 3 draw for the turn, right? Your natural draw, 2 cards off Janna, that's 3. And then if you play a Slipstream, you're up to 5, and then if you play another draw 2, you're up to 7. It's very easy to even get that up to 9 cards within a single turn. Turns out 9 cards is what it takes to flip a Twisted Fate. And so I expect incredibly obnoxious things from Twisted Fate out of the upcoming Eternal season. He died for our standard-based sins so that we would only have to see this nonsense once every 3 months. And so depending on how the changes happen within the variety patch and the upcoming balance patch, I fully expect Twisted Fate to be completely obnoxious in the space of Eternal. And so we're hoping to touch on this here just a little bit today, but that first pillar of the deck being the card draw themes are what kind of leads us into Twisted Fate. Twisted Fate then brings us into the secondary idea of the deck, which is the kind of cost reduction stuff. With the cost reduction and the updraft mechanic coming out of Janna, that's what we're going to be using to flip Janna, but it also ties into things like Twisted Fate, to where you would really like to play 3 cards in a turn to throw the 3 cards off of the flip Twisted Fate. It's much easier to do if your cards are cheaper, and so the cost reduction updraft style of mechanic works very fantastically with Janna, also ties into Twisted Fate. But that ties into our next card to really call attention to, which is going to be the Veiled Temple. So each round, the first time you play 2 other cards, you refill 2 spell mana and give your strongest ally +1 attack. And so I do fully expect that we'll be able to generate some pretty crazy turns with the usage of the Veiled Temple, given that our deck is really kind of going out of its way to just cycle through a ton of cards over and over and over again. If you're not familiar with some of the cards out of the Fates Voyage Onward, with the likes of, say, Windborn Mariner, tying into that card draw theme that we had with the initial point of Twisted Fate, now giving us a secondary bonus as being a unit that can come down for free if we drew a bunch of cards. Playing free cards with the Veiled Temple is something that works very nicely. And so we're starting to generate that second piece of the cycle that we have here. The last one being is a kind of card generation theme. And so as you're familiar with, say, Nyla, Nyla does generate cards. She puts those slipstreams into your deck. The generated card theme then works with the likes of, say, Victor, who wants to see you play a bunch of created cards. And so it's a nice little cycle of stuff that we get through these. There's a lot of dual synergies with cards all throughout our deck. Say with Zoe generating a super cool star chart so that we have the extra created card. And then if she gets that second strike in, reducing the cost, then starts to work towards Janna and giving her the ways to level up. We're playing some really super hits in here like Mirai Great Mother, which is doing a lot of the same things, right? If we're going to be drawing a ton of cards, it'll increase our chances of hitting these really high-powered spells that we can play on the cheap. Those spells being cheap then allow us to play multiple cards for the Veiled Temple, created cards for Victor, cycling through these reduced cost cards for Janna. There's just lots and lots and lots of combos that tie in with all of these cards that we have. The last kind of things that I do want to call out before we jump into the gameplay, some of the kind of non-combo aspects of the deck. Down here at the bottom where you can't see, we are playing Glorious Evolution. This is our big kind of game finisher that does a lot of tying everything together. It works fantastically with all of the elusives that we're playing. It reduces the cost of our cards for Janna and for the Veiled Temple. It all around has some pretty great combos within the deck. The next thing I want to call out is we are still playing the very singleton-based classics like the Pursuit of Perfection. There are new answers to the Pursuit of Perfection, though. The Octo Adventurer and the Spectral Surveyor, the new Explorers, are cards that I expect to have a very big impact on the singleton meta, just with decks like Back Alley Bar and Seraphine Piles being the most common decks that you have in this format, with the Explorers coming down, able to destroy a Back Alley Bar or able to quicksand down a Pursuit of Perfection for the turn. Very, very powerful things that these units bring to the table. And so I fully expect every singleton deck, basically from here on out, to play every adventurer possible that it has access to. Again, just things like Aatrox running around. He's very common out here. Seraphine, very common. These units are just extremely, extremely powerful. And so, that is it. That is the deck we're doing battle with today. But before the battles begin, you know what we have to do. We have to come out and pay that pay-to-win price. And I feel a little bad for Acorn. We usually don't go out of our way to reduce the cost of our epic-based cards, but I feel bad coming out of the open. We didn't upgrade our Acorn, and I feel like that was probably one of the reasons we didn't have as much success as we wanted. And so we have fixed the problems, we fixed the mistakes, and now we are ready to go. And so, yeah, good time. Good. This is a nice kind of change of pace format now that there's quote-unquote nothing to do with the open being behind us, and then the balance patch not coming out for a week. But if you didn't really hit the grind and try and hit those prime glories because you were too busy grinding out the ladder, then this is, you know, a great time when there's nothing to do, in the air quotes, to round up some of those trophies and then get some buys in terms of the next open getting here. And so I'm pretty hyped. I'm pretty excited. Let's see what we can get ourselves into. Okay. Oh, come on, dude. You're not even playing Volibear. That's what we're going to have to do in our next video. We're going to get together a little bit of Volibear ramp. And so, as far as this hand goes, I'm fine to hang on to Windborn Mariner. We should be able to get him onto the board on the cheap relatively quickly. But these other cards can go. We need to find some of our early game plays. There we go. Our turn 4 early game plays in Janna. That's early enough in this format, right? I'm pretty certain it's early enough. All right, so the Cosmic Youngling coming down. Do not particularly care. We don't interact with it very well here, and I would like to find, you know, something to do next turn. Adding the Windborn Mariner is not super exciting, but we'll see how it goes. Dropping Monster Harpoons on this unit doesn't feel very good. So let's just pass. It's like maybe he'll play a different unit that we care a little bit more about. Didn't. So this is kind of tough, right? I want to just drop something. I'm leaning towards just playing High Note onto the Favorite Artisan just to get a little bit of damage out here. I mean, we could Monster Harpoon something, but it's like now that he's played the Artisan with the time and dedication, I kind of want to hang on to the Heavy Metal. It's just 3 mana, right? Oh, there we go. There we go. I'm not going to wait on it. I know he has the time and dedication in hand, but I would prefer for the opponent not to be able to open attack and get those bonus stats within their deck. We have all this damage-based removal, and it's kind of annoying and awkward when the units become 3/3s and you can't kill them with Mystic Shots and stuff. So let's get rid of some of this hand. I'm going to get rid of the Pale Cascade and the Monster Harpoon. These are the ones that we're not going to be playing anytime soon. And then we have some awkward hits in here like the Thermogenic Beam that just don't quite work in terms of getting these units off the board. Now, interesting spot. Is opponent actually going to have removal here? I don't believe you, as Ron Burgundy would say. Let's just go ahead and slap Janna into combat here. I think she'll get the unit off the board and prevent a bit of damage, and then not really be at risk at dying next turn. Alright, her best friend Nyla turning up. Submersible, another Singleton-based hit making an appearance. Let's see what we can do.
Leap of faith, huh? You'll catch me, right?
Our strength is yours.
I will aid you, Nina, for you face monsters.
Alright, how deep do we want to go here? We can look to get this Hearthguard off of the board. It's going to take a bit of work with both, say, a Howling Gale and a Divine Whirlwind, but I think I'm kind of on board with it. Like, dealing with this unit just kind of sucks. So, let's go ahead and just take him down. He also, you know, kills our Nyla, which I'm not super amped about.
Swept into the cyclone's fury.
Till the end.
I cast thee out.
Alright, attack time. Oh shit, we attacked with our Janna? That was not intentional. I just kind of spaced out thinking about Anchorman. It happens. It happens, you know. It's a common thing. I was just thinking about Anchorman. All right, well, what do we got here? Do we want to go ahead and drop the Slipstream? I'm not amped about it, but it is going to make the cards we draw off of Janna a little bit cheaper this turn. All right. Celestial Impact, expensive. I mean, is Braum a unit that we even really care about? Oh. We're going to lose our fleeting spells anyways. It's like Celestial Impact up against this deck that has this very big top end in it, and you have to assume it has stuff like Feel the Rush in it. Doesn't feel like too much of a win.
By my winds shall the downtrodden rise.
Alright, we can get our flipped Janna. We got our runaway Scrap Trap ready to battle out here. Interesting. Whatever your spell is, I'll take it. There's got to be like a Pale Cascade or something coming out of here, but I'm fine to trade the Windborn Mariner for whatever that spell is. Now we can just kind of start to pop off with these elusives.
Let this draft guide your hand.
Zoe's a pretty cool elusive. Reggie, not so elusive.
We follow the legends until we become them. Trickster never loses because Zoe makes the rules.
Alright, elusive friends, get in here. Let's just send everybody.
To ecstasy.
If he wants to block the Scrap Trap with the Cosmic Youngling, I'm pretty okay with it. Looking to just override it anyways. Man, and being able to churn through all these cards. I know our Zoe's a little bit late for that kind of thing now, but it's very interesting how quickly the Zoe can flip in this style of deck with all of the cheapness that we can cycle through. Now what are we going to do here? I'm kind of interested in this Divine Judgment and just trying to slap that onto Janna. Like, he can't Feel the Rush this next turn, but we're never going to play Destiny's Call. I guess Formula is always a reasonable option. But I think I like just getting that little bit of unit protection here. We're so close to just ending the game.
A gentle breeze to ease your burden.
What up, Steve?
Something ancient stirs.
A touch awkward with this. If we want to take the Anivia off of the board, we need to hit her with the beam. Alright, fine. Oh, wrong order. Can't do both? I thought you could. It's been so long since I played these cards. I thought you could put beam on the stack and then follow it up with another card. Well, how bad is it if he gets to attack with Anivia? We can look to say Divine Judgment, protect Zoe, and then draw a card with Twisted Fate. Alright, let's blue card.
Deal me in.
That way our Nyla just doesn't die to the AoE blast.
Endless delights unfold
I think I'm on board.
Rejoice!
I bring the storm.
Watch your toes.
Do we even care about protecting Zoe at this point? Probably not. We do have this almost there elusive package that's pretty close to getting the kill, but I don't think that's going to be necessary.
With utmost efficiency, I bring music and war.
Alright, feeling better and better.
No materials, no improvements.
So we hit a spell shield on Victor. We can go ahead and drop the Octo Adventure. I think we just want the quicksand with it. And then next turn we'll attack. We have 5, 8, 9, 10 from Nyla because she'll strike into the face. I think this is fine. Okay.
Let this draft guide your hand.
Okay.
The whirlwind.
I dig it. Off to battle, everyone.
Break against me.
The north is ours. Do not oppose me.
Still looking good. If he's going to try and harsh win some of our units, we got extra answers in hand now that we picked up the Tellstones. Ooh, feels good. Feels good. I wish we got some of these champions on board a little bit earlier so that we could see some of the high-powered stuff that they're able to pull off, but
Onward.
it was a good start, you know. Top decking that Janna did a lot of work. Our hand was kind of a turd until until we cycled into the Janna. All right, so what do we got now? PNZ with Ionia. Can't really tell if it's going to be an aggro deck or more of a karma deck, but we'll see. I think this is probably a reasonable enough start. It's tough, like, we have so much high-powered stuff in our deck that it kind of sucks to not keep the to not start with the high-powered stuff. And so it's like maybe we just hang on to heavy metal and then we just try and cycle into our champion. So that way it's like we at least have an answer to an early game Teemo with the heavy metal. But like the just the incredible power that we get out of Nyla and Twisted Fate in comparison to holding on to a high note is pretty monumental. And so I think this worked out quite well. I'm really excited to see how Nyla Twisted Fate works together. Oh, Steve out here is unfortunately just going to be getting Mystic Shot, but if you're not familiar with why I call him Steve, you know, if he's out there on a hot date night with old Graves, right? Graves isn't sitting there being like, Twisted Fate, what do you want for dinner? Right? Nobody fucking calls him Twisted Fate. That sounds like something Elon Musk would do, right? He's like, don't call me Elon Musk, call me Iron Man, right? This is like the kind of thing, you know, nobody's gonna call you by that name. He's never just like hanging out in the basement and his mom yells down, she's like, Twisted Fate, come up, dinner's ready, right? Call him his fucking name. It's Steve. Somebody's told me what his name was. It was like John or Bill. Something very non-inventive, but I like to envision that it's just Steve. That's the name that I've given him. So shut up, Ma. Call me Twisted Fate. He's got to say stuff like that. You're not Twisted Fate when you're hanging out in my basement. But all right, the fate he's going to be suffering, the Mystic Shots rolling in, sad day for him, but still coming together reasonably well. And one of the things that's kind of interesting to me, you know, as we do approach the Eternal Season is Twisted Fate and Nyla both being within the same faction, so it really opens up the opportunities to play them with anything. And I'm kind of curious, you know, what kind of nonsense you could really pull off with this. Like, it's just very common to be like, okay, well, I'm going to play, you know, 34 Bilgewater cards, but then the remaining 6 can be anything. And whether you want that to be like Troll Chance and something really powerful out of Freylord or whatever, whatever the meta dictates you need to really be able to pop off with Nyla and Twisted Fate, you can get access to. Alright, well, I'm not too worried about this bird. Let's just go ahead and slap for Crash down. he wants to put another equipment onto it or something, we can switch into the Howling Gale, but losing out on a single unit here is not something I'm too worried about. Interesting, he hooks into Nyla, then just doesn't do anything. Like, it's gotta just drum solo. Weird. It's like, you set that up, but then you don't play the removal spell. I'm gonna just go ahead and protect her. We're gonna be overbanking this turn if we don't do anything, and so let's just go ahead and give her those stats. Right, well, Ballistic Bot does like seeing our created cards. Let's go ahead and get him down. No reason to just throw Nyla away in front of the Mixologist. I'm happy with her level of safety at the moment, but we can look to build to this glorious evolution and pop off from there.
This can be fun. Watch.
Right, the back alley bar coming in. We'll just take it slow. He has to be like way far away from actually dropping a what you call the expensive thing. Why does this only cost 4? Oh, it's I cost 2 less. It's not I cost 2. It's been quite a while since I've dropped a monster harpoon. Okay. Well, he's got his -1 cost card. We have our -1 cost card. We'll see. We'll see who's the stronger at the end of the day. I guess the kind of break point here is he does have the opportunity to play Deny, but he's got 1 copy of Deny, right? I feel like we can probably just run this thing out. Ugh. Whatever. Whatever, dude. That's kind of brutal. Our hand doesn't do anything else, so it doesn't feel too terrible, but I feel like, you know, if you're playing Constructed at this point, and they've like done some predicting and they have 2 or 3 copies of Deny in their deck, you might think a little more in terms of just running it, but I don't know, it doesn't strike me as too bad. We could still blow up the bar if we want. We have the Celestial Impact, but I feel like we should be saving it for I feel like we should be saving it for his big unit that actually matters. The Pursuit of Perfection. Alright, let's see what we can do. I'm going to start getting these units on the board. We're going to not attack with Nyla again. But everyone else is pretty much free game here. I'm going to add the Forge Chief as well. We have decent combat tricks in air quotes, being able to throw things like Divine Whirlwind down in the middle. So I think that's okay. I don't even want to. Oh my god, he has 1,000,000 mana. Alright, pass. Doesn't even kill her. We got all these slipstreams. We need our Twisted Fate back. We can kick this up to 3 mana. I mean, Slipstream is reasonable, I guess. Picked up an Explorer as well. That all looks pretty good. I mean, let's be real. He has the back alley bar down. He has a bunch of shitty units on the board. But we have 1,000,000 cards in hand with 2 Slipstreams. Like, I don't feel like we're particularly far behind in any way here. So, like, as long as we're taking this approach of, as long as you're not doing something that's just completely obnoxious and going to OTK us, like, as long as you're not playing Pursuit of Perfection and we have the Celestial Impact to stop it, then who cares? You know, who cares? We're doing just fine here. Start zinging off these created cards, getting those delightful little augments as we go. It's good. Would have been a lot cooler if everything we had was a tech with augment and all our cards cost one less, but we're still getting there. We're still getting there at the end of the day. Look at that. That's a fucking fast Victor. He says, you got so many created cards, my dude. Just churning out slipstreams for the Victor. It's pretty sweet. It's pretty sweet.
Fix my stage first.
Look at that. Seraphine's not flipped. She's close to it, but she didn't get the memo on the awesome stuff she could be doing. So let's go ahead and try and harpoon her. We'll play the ignition. We'll try and harpoon Seraphine. It does 5 damage, so even if she flips, the only thing that would be, you know, fairly obnoxious this round is if he's going to have a
That was great.
song spinner.
Now let's really bring it.
And at this stage of the game, I don't feel like song spinner is even that impressive.
Nailed that.
All right, so rip Nyla.
Even this is bliss.
She did a lot of work this game, though. Let's be real.
I've always been a fun guy.
Sure. He doesn't want to replay the Seraphine and have her just get blasted by Victor. Not surprised. Not surprised. I'm thinking here, it's like if we want to, we can say Divine Whirlwind, the Puffcat Peddler, then hook the Smooth Mixologist with Victor, but I don't think that's ultimately necessary.
The human mind takes time.
We'll get there eventually, you know. Strap in. Strap in. Get ready. Sure. Doesn't even feel worth a whirlwind. So especially now knowing he only has 2 cards in hand, not particularly effective ones, he really needs to be top decking a like a song spinner. Gotta like this spot we're in.
The crowd writes the songs. I just sing them.
I'm not gonna do it. I keep eyeballing this Celestial Impact and being like, oh, we could Celestial Impact the Seraphine. No, she's not doing anything here. Like, I guess if he draws like Rummage, that would be pretty poor for us, but she's not that strong. Now I think we're safe from the Pursuit of Perfection. He can't cast it this turn, so we can look to obliterate Karma. Alright, keep playing these cards. Oop. Uh-oh. How many puff caps are in our deck? I did not envision that was actually a thing. Okay. I guess we got puff capped a little bit. That's fine. You gotta feel good with another Celestial Impact. So we got now Janna, into Tellstones, and a Surveyor. More puff cap stuff. it just never goes away, huh? It just never goes away. We'll eventually hit something with Victor, right? This is what all the control players in the world really love, I guess. Sitting around being like, ooh, I got this Victor on board. I just need 5 turns and I'll eventually hit Overwhelm. I'll eventually get it.
The materials, no improvements.
Not yet.
They grow up so fast.
Look at that. Opponent's got a handful of cards now. Ugh. Okay.
Practice, as they say, makes perfect.
I gotta feel like if his answer for the turn is Caitlyn, then we're gonna be doing pretty good. So stuff we don't want. I mean, can we just win the game with Tellstones? Maybe that's a thing. I'm just kind of looking at this hand and it's like, well, we can play so much reduced stuff this turn. We could probably get Janna to just flip. But, like, I wonder if there's a spot to where we attack and, I don't like that stuff. Let's just add Janna.
How's it going?
Hear me, you are not alone.
This Zoe's got to flip at some point, right? We're pretty close to just getting the Zoe flip. I have no idea which cards I've actually played, but I feel like Ignition hasn't been seen, Slipstream hasn't been seen, I know Suit Up hasn't been seen.
Peacemaker.
Well, something's happening, I guess.
Another brilliant design.
This is where the attacks stop, huh? This is where we can't do it anymore. This is 5. It'll be 6 damage. Once Victor gets on board, we can safely attack with the Cloudwinder as well. We have the Divine Whirlwind to deal some extra damage.
Doldrums cause cap manners.
Alright, math that one out pretty good. Sitting here doing the finger maths and stuff, you know? Jesus. That felt a lot scarier than I feel like it should have. Hitting the slipstream there and drawing like 6 cards. That was kind of scary.
How do you like that sparkle?
Sure, some of you are like, why don't you have Seraphine in your deck? And it's like, well, I don't want to play stupid cards like Seraphine. Is this your first video on the channel? Why aren't you playing Seraphine? No thanks. No thanks. Alright, next battle. Did you all watch the Chiefs play on Sunday night? I'm sure you all did. But what did you think of Taylor Swift being in the audience again? Did you think it could be the first game that the Chiefs lose with Taylor Swift in the audience? It's wild. It's wild. I mean, I guess I don't know if she, like, in comparison would be like as popular as the Beatles. Like at the Beatles' height, them being more popular than Jesus and everything. I don't know if Taylor has reached that level. At least I guess she doesn't like. I mean, I bet people do go to her concerts and just like pass out and stuff because they're so damn excited to see Taylor, like they used to do at the Beatles shows. People do that during my videos as well. They'll turn it on and they say, "Oh fuck, it's another bust video." They just get so super hyped they pass out. It's crazy. It's a medical crisis in the LOR community. So be careful out there. Only watch my videos sitting down just in case. But all right, what do we got here? This is something that would typically strike me as being Elusives. It's what it probably is. It has like the Donger and Gnar in it. Maybe it's not. Lucian, Teemo, Donger, Yumi, Tristana, Gnar, Vandal City, Demacia, PNZ. Okay. Well, whatever. We'll hang on to Janna. See what else turns up. We'll probably find a removal spell along the way. Poro Cannon's what we needed against the Elusives. And so Poro Cannon's kind of interesting, right? It does quite a bit. It does created card stuff since you're creating the 2 Daring Poros. It gives us access to Elusives, but the big thing it really pops off with is the Augmented Experiment, whatever that expensive ass thing is called. I can't even scroll the deck tracker down. Here we go. What is it? Glorious Evolution, right? It gives you 2 evasive units that are created cards that you can churn a bunch of stuff onto. It's very, very powerful combination.
Reality is just your mind crumbling under what it doesn't understand.
Here, I'll let him get the extra stat before we drop the heavy metal. I'd prefer to get this this bonus onto Zoe. Lame, dude. Lame. Alright, so we're definitely playing Janna on this next turn. Do we need to hang on to the Celestial thing, the Celestial Impact? Now we find the Glorious Evolution. It just seems way too greedy to keep. Let's just get rid of this expensive stuff. I mean,
You are not alone.
I'm kind of interested in how this combo just feels, and so I kind of want to see what happens next turn in the sense that we probably, if we were excited to play the Veiled Temple with Janna, we probably should have played the Veiled Temple first, right? It says because now we're going to draw the 2 cards the 2 extra cards. The things are going to be reduced in cost, but it's going to be tough to get the temple down and play all of those extra cards. So I don't like that as much. Maybe we should have done it the other way, but it's very slow that other way. And this is a pretty decent draw in terms of popping off with the Veiled Temple. We got this sweet combo with the Scrap Traption, right? So we can play the Temple, we can play Forge Chief, we can play Pale Cascade, and then refill mana. And then with that refilled mana, we can drop the Scrap Traption. I like it.
Come on, people. Let's make tomorrow
We're going to be
today.
too slow, though.
One would love to.
Maybe next turn, right? Ooh, suit up.
Not on my work site, bub.
My Tempest shields.
So he's out of mana at this point, right? What I'm thinking is we can block with Janna. Then we can play the Veiled Temple. And then we can just suit up Janna to heal her back up. He's not playing Noxus, so we don't have to worry about Janna getting hit with a... getting hit with like a Scorched Earth or something.
Storm unrelenting.
Alright, well. The big boy's gonna have to do some work. Our hand doesn't quite do enough at the moment, and so... I don't like how we sequenced this. It feels like it could have popped, you know, it could have really gone off, but on the flip side, we would have just taken like 19 damage, and so I don't feel super safe in the sense that if we took that super slow grind of putting the temple down first and then playing Janna, and then opponent just hit us with a million damage of stuff. Now this is going to be lame. He's going to blow up our temple. What a lame-o. What a lame-o.
Come on then.
All right, Golden Crush Bot's not ready yet. He says I'm not ready to block. I got bigger and badder brash things to do. But I mean, it seems reasonable. I would like to 3-bank on this next turn so we can look to progress day 2 turns from now. We'll see if that kind of comes together. it does, you know, just about everything we need cards to do, in the sense that all those cards will be reduced in cost twice, actually, since the Janna will be on board. So I think we can make some magic happen there.
Let's go. Grab my hat. Comb my mustache.
All right. I'm thinking on what we want here. I think it's just got to be the Explorer's Blunder. I think the only card we really care about out of this combination is going to be something that Tristana does, and so let's go ahead and snatch it up. I was actually kind of leaning towards just taking the heal, because these cards don't really do anything, and I just want to bank. But this is another one of these games where it's like, all right, well, how do we lose the game from this spot? I guess he plays Pursuit of Perfection, right? And so having the answer to the overwhelm on Pursuit of Perfection is just such a big deal. I guess it's fine to be a little safer here. Yordles in Arms. Okay. That's the card I was kind of expecting if he was going to be playing Elusives. I'll just not die. Oh, that's lame. F. Okay. Well, we'll still have that progress date for next turn, but that was a real pain in the ass.
Some encouraging words.
Poor Janna.
Retreating bravely.
You gotta pick up something good. You're not supposed to interact in this format, right? You're not supposed to come down and put units on the board in that way. So what do we got? Whirlwind, Mystic Shot, and Reggie. Not a particularly compelling set of cards. It's like I want to play Whirlwind because this is like our last chance to play it on the cheap. But these units all suck, right? I want to be taking down actual relevant units with the Divine Whirlwind and our removal spells, and like that's not it. You know, we'd rather be killing Tristanas and stuff. So we're about to get domed. At least if he open attacks, this isn't a lethal. See, I got one of those too. It's tough. I want to start complaining and being like, you know, if we drew our champions, this wouldn't be any kind of problem. But opponent hasn't played any champions yet, so we aren't allowed to make complaints like that. Give it all is always tempting, but we're not going to have the board, right? It's very good when you have elusives and you get all of your non-elusive units the bonus, but I think we just have to take the Seismic Shard. It's just so bad at 7 mana, though.
It's an awesome day for
All right, whatever. We got to get an 8 attack Victor on board. Pop off the Seismic Shard there. What the fuck? And he doesn't attack? Wow. Thanks. All right, let's just draw a million cards and see if we pick up something good along the way.
fresh start. Just looking for a
Wow. Can't believe you no attack there. Did they disconnect or something? Like, that's what makes sense to me. Why do you have this board and just no attack? Disconnect. That's what I got in my head. He's apparently still here.
Humanity is obsolete.
Alright, well, I'm ready for a pass now. It's like we technically have a Hush in hand, but if this is going to be his angle, probably want to be a little bit safer here and go ahead and add the other Poro, right? If he's kind of preemptively setting up this next turn to where he's taking the Elusive off the Submersible and he's got a Challenger on board, he's trying to do something not cool. And so we'll just preemptively put the other Elusive down to ensure we can block his 5/5. Now, we're kind of okay in the face of Tristana, right? We have the Tellstones to hush her if we need to.
We're off on a new adventure.
Alright, that would typically be annoying, but we have we have this seismic shard locked and ready to go. Like that could have been very problematic in the sense that our 5/5 wouldn't have been big enough to take the Tristana down. But now getting her off the board, you have to feel much better. Oof. We need one of those Seraphine cards everybody's playing, right? that's our out for this space. Just play one of those Seraphine cards. Ugh. I don't know. It'd probably be a lot better than Fizz, but it's so brutal to have to play those terrible cards. So what's going to happen here? I'm very interested in putting the +3/+3 onto our Submersible and then blocking the Poro. I assume he's going to hook like our Daring Poro out of combat with his 2/3 and force us to block the Elusive with our 1/4. Interesting, not even that. Now, what's the worst that could happen, right? He can't pass out Overwhelm. He could have more combat tricks. Like, do we even care if he has combat tricks? I think I'm fine to just trade. I'd like to just get Victor on board. Like, we can still make interactions with his Submersible. We have the Hush in hand, but like the Victor is how we can kind of come in and end this thing. One created card away from flipping. Celestial Impact, very interesting. It's capable of getting the kill on both Yuumi and the big Elusive here. Very strong draw. Overwhelm on our boy Victor. Cool.
Every work demands a piece of ourselves.
All right. Well, I guess we'll Celestial Impact that one. I felt fine in trying to take down the Submersible because we had the Hush in hand, but this is just the all-around more problematic card. I'll updraft away our Mystic Shot, not really looking to do anything with it. Found our own kitty cat. Looking good, looking good. I got a big blocker too. About 30-30 worth of it. This should be a game ender. I think we're good now.
Not another step.
Watch your toes.
Just don't take any damage and we're okay. It sucks to lose Ballistic Bot, but you know, if this game continues on for any length of time, it's just immediately over. And so let's protect our Victor. We'll get in front of the majority of the stuff here. I think we're good to go. It's dropping GGs. Doesn't have the answer to our 30-30. Gotta like that.
Now a celebration.
It's tough to have an answer to a 30-30 overwhelm, you know, but it can be tough.
Wait, you've been following me?
Elusive Victor. Gotta sit around and keep casting these spells, right? I don't want to get into autopilot mode and then we push everything into the middle and he's like, oh, LOL, I drew Purify. And so we'll take the extra moment to just sit around and cast all of our spells, but I think we'll be okay from here. Physical for Demacia. Not gonna cut it.
How about the party trick?
Looks like we're coming in for a nice 37. Nice big number, you know. G. Yeah, you got to get through 6 games. I got so used to playing those best of 3s. I didn't realize you had to get through 6 games. Jeez. All right. We'll probably call it a video with this one. That was a 15-minute barn burner here, and so you gotta try and keep these videos at an hour. And I forget, it's easy to forget how long that these grindy ass control decks can take. I'll tell you the way that this went was I've really wanted to come out here and just start playing Draven, and I loved a lot of the aspects of playing Draven with Janna, and I think that's not, well, I should say not necessarily Janna, but the Janna kit. Is I really want to play Draven with Rummage, and then have the free unit, and then the draw 2 bird, and I think that there's just an incredible amount of potential right there, because as was working on our lineup for, I'm trying to decide if I want to keep Mystic Shot. He has Nora, but the rest of his early game doesn't particularly suffer from that. Let's just cycle the shot away. Look for the higher powered stuff like our champions. No, but as I was getting ready for the open, I was really trying to find the space to where we could play 3 decks supporting the Janna kit. And so maybe you play like Nyla without Janna. Of course he just has the thing after we said, it's only Nora. But no, I was looking to play, say, like Nyla without Janna, and then play some kind of discard aggro styled thing, and just have 3 iterations of the reduced cost stuff, but not necessarily be playing the Janna across all the decks, because you only get access to 1. And I was very interested in what we could be getting out of things like discard aggro, but the stuff isn't quite there in standard, but it is there in Eternal. So that's where my head's been. It's like I know I'm so excited to get to play like Rummage Draven with all these free spells, but You know, this felt more like the actual real deck, and so I was like, oh, maybe we should bring that out at some point. Concurrent timelines, ugh. Ugh. I didn't think we had to see that card anymore. So, what do we got? Clockling? I kind of want to get the Great Mother just to see what it feels like. I don't feel like that was the actual correct choice there. It's probably better off to just go and get a get a free Forge Chief. If he's dropping Victors, then we're gonna come at him with the Great Mother. Fuck, and he just immediately hits Spell Shield? Alright. Say your prayers to RN Jesus. He's just gonna get leveled up so fast now that he gets the Hex Core every turn. What? You say your prayers, we can say our own. Let's see what RN Jesus has to say about this game. Maybe we'll get a sweet ass 6-cost spell right away. Zing him real good. Oh god, I forgot that he had the timelines already. Oh boy. That was actually like a negative timelines. Alright, well this is apparently our opening to get Victor off of the board. I can't wait to see what happens when we drop all these spells on Victor and then he just has a combat trick. But we need 8 mana to try and take him down. Let's see what happens.
Another brilliant design.
I wonder if he ever just passes the turn here and just stops. I don't think we would want to pass in this spot. Like, adding it, we're finally to the point next turn to where if we really want to play the Mariner for free, it's not worth it. But if we want to play the Mariner for free, we can look to play Mariam and play the Submersible. But pretty certain I don't like that. But let's put forth the block. This feels like there's just going to be a Three Sisters or something to protect the Victor. So I don't want him giving the Victor the giant bonus stats and then just doming it super hard. And so we'll put the block out in front. We actually survived it there. That's kind of cool. I can't complain about that. We'll just send Forge Chief. It takes us too much work to get the Submersible land, the Mariam, and the Mariner on board. And the Pioneer has come down. Curious what he takes at this stage when it's not obvious what we're about to do.
I am superior life form.
I'm here in Jana's name. Do the kids
All right,
still
this seems like the point in our lives where we just put the Mariner down. Say, okay, buddy, you're not coming down for 0. It's turn 8. Nobody cares.
fast as wind, light as air. Away with you.
Isn't this getting old?
Okay, not a ton we can do about this, but let's just prevent the damage. Gonna drop the submersible. Cat attack? Well, I mean, I guess we have a cat, right? I guess we have a cat. Huh. This is not really the high-powered play I was expecting to get out of our Mirai Great Mother, but oh, that's not a oh, it is a cat. Okay. Jesus. He says, "What the fuck? That's like a decimate, bro." A decimate you can block, I guess. Oh, this is gonna be lame, isn't it? Yup. Signposts, okay, sure. Gotta pay full price now? God, these cards are fucking stupid. Who wants to pay full price for this stuff? Alright. And he's got one more card in hand he thought about putting forward and didn't do, so probably just like a Mystic Shot kind of card. I didn't think it was the pastry.
Like a fish in water.
Well, the scrap shot off of the Great Mother is a little bit more appealing. Gives us a nice target onto Nar.
Let's get to work.
I meant to play our scrap shot so that we could just directly attack. It's probably fine just to sit back with the Cloudwinder anyways. You gotta feel like at this point, just attacking into these units isn't super relevant. Maybe this one will be super relevant though.
Fate wills.
Fine. He still has like the Nar hook next turn into the submersible, but maybe we find a way out of it. Mind Meld. Mind Meld would have been sick. Another Great Mother super hit that we don't get to play. Gotta assume I think he's trying to build this up to where he uses the carved blade twirler to hook our submersible. I think that's what makes sense to me. We can make a hush play on there to protect our unit. A little less appealing if he makes that hook with Nar, but that seems to be where he's going here. Well, I think we have to take a little bit more aggressive action here. I'm just going to look to harpoon the Nar, and then we're going to beam the Blade Twirler. And then ideally he won't have enough tools left to take the submersible down. Well, I guess the tools are had to just win the game. Okay. All right. Well, that's where we're going to call it for today. We can pull this deck up, talk about it a little bit more. And so, you know, I think a lot of the ideas in here are good. We didn't get to pull off any of the big crazy stuff to where we turbo level a Twisted Fate or anything, but that's going to be something that more happens along the lines and bring your own 3 of a copy. What do you Eternal Constructed, is that what we'll call it, where you get to bring, you know, the full sets of the cards. But, you know, a lot of the options within this deck are still quite good. I was not stoked with the Veiled Temple. Maybe that was pushing things a little bit too far, but the rest of the things here are happening quite nice. Again, I think it should be fairly apparent after playing all of those games that the Octo Adventure and the Spectral Surveyor are both going to be integral pieces of this format as everybody comes out here and plays stuff like Pursuit of Perfection. Having that way to take the overwhelm off the Pursuit of Perfection is incredibly important. And so that's why we have the stuff in here like the Celestial Impact, to a lesser degree, things like Sunburst and Targonian Tellstones that can provide silences. It's very important to be able to stop that unit because P and Z is so relevant across this format. But if you're looking to play this deck on your own, I suspect that I would cut out the Fizz. You realistically should play Seraphine as much as it pains me to say. The Veiled Temple should be going, and outside of that, everything in here felt pretty good and pretty normal. I would assume if you're adding in Seraphine, you're gonna be interested in adding in the Sputtering Song Spinner, another card which works fantastically with the likes of Janna, giving you 3 options that can be created cards that come down for free. So it works for the Janna level up playing reduced cost cards. It works for the Victor level up in terms of playing created cards. It works with a lot of things that you just have going on here. Otherwise, pretty happy with how this went. It kind of feels like the Cloudwinder and the other free unit just weren't that spectacular. And you should probably just be playing some draw 2s in place of those maybe. Like I can see the argument for Cloudwinder, but this is one of these weird spots to where it's like you have to have some amount of units, right? You can't play no units. It's just too dangerous in this format to where you will occasionally run across unit-based decks, but your units need to be providing some kind of value. And so the Cloudwinder could probably stay, but the Windborne Mariner probably needs to go. Nonetheless, good set of games. I had fun with that. I hope you did too, because that is going to do it for us today. So I hope everyone enjoyed the video. I hope you maybe learned a thing or two along the way, and you had a good time watching. So this is Bustin' Me. Thank you for being here.